Welcome back. It's the Hearthstone Global Games, and now it is the one that we've all been waiting for. It's the one I've been waiting for anyway. It's the first elimination match of Week 7. It's going to be Hong Kong versus the Netherlands. Loser of this series goes home, or rather stays home. Won't be going to BlizzCon anyway.
Yeah, it's getting it's crunch time now. All of these players really want to get that spot. I've seen all of these players, a lot of whom I watch on Twitch. They're successful streamers. They're all just saying how much fun they're having in the global games. They don't want it to end because it's not often that you get to compete so directly with your friends and teammates. It can be a little bit more of a solo venture in Hearthstone, and so I know everyone here is very keen to get that spot at BlizzCon.
Yeah, everyone wants that spot at BlizzCon. Let's take a look at the bracket and see how close these teams are to getting there, though. This is losers match number 1. Winner of this match will face off against the loser of the United Kingdom and Bulgaria. And if they then win that match, they go to BlizzCon. So it is fair to say, I think, that Hong Kong and the Netherlands have a long road ahead of them if they want to get there.
It is not looking good, and I think not only you, but all the rest of us were expecting Netherlands to not be taking a loss right at the start. Bulgaria have continued to exceed expectations because, again, no one really knew that much about them going into it. Django is obviously the star player on that team. He reached out to us. We've talked to him a little bit, and he's a very nice guy, and he seems to be doing well for him. But they are a team that altogether doesn't have all that many HCT points, not much competitive experience, and defeating the Netherlands for them was a pretty big deal.
That's certainly one of the big success stories of the Hearthstone Global Games, I think. And, you know, if you're in charge of an esports organization and you're looking for Hearthstone players, then it could be a really great place for you to start by looking at Team Bulgaria. But anyways, let's take a look at these two great teams. Hong Kong, Blitzchung, gold Hearthstone medalist, Kin0531, Lucifield and Shy up against my remaining caster pick still in the tournament, Tyler, Tice, Mitsuhide, and Theo. Derek, this is a clash of the titans, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I believe you're referring to the recent Asian games that were
That's right.
A little while ago. Sadly, didn't get the opportunity to cast. I would have loved to go out a very beautiful part of the world. And like you said, Kin managed to get that victory. Very few people who have an official Olympic gold medal in Hearthstone.
Or in esports overall, actually. It's quite the impressive feat. And it may sound like we talk about it a lot, but that's because it's really cool.
It is very cool. The Netherlands, however, you know these guys. If you follow Hearthstone at all, you will have seen a lot of these players from when they've been competing a lot back in the golden age of Hearthstone, the glory days from way back when, and still to this day, Tyler going to the full championships later on, and all the rest of them still successful streamers, personalities, and competitors in Hearthstone.
But let's jump right into it. The picks and bans are ready. Let's go ahead and take a look as the first bans are, wow, Mage and Warrior, that's very different.
Yeah, Netherlands deciding to get rid of the aggro mage from Hong Kong. This is a strategy that is not often introduced into the global games because aggro mage is not seen as a particularly strong deck, I would say. It's mainly an anti-quest rogue deck. I think that's pretty much what everyone can agree upon.
Yep.
Maybe that is what is leading the Netherlands to banning it because, as you can quite clearly see, their first ban was the mage and their first pick was the quest rogue. So they just want to really guarantee that they can get a win with that quest rogue. And it shows with Hong Kong also trying to counter that strategy as best as possible by picking Zoo, another strong aggressive deck right at the start.
I think generally everyone's opinions of aggro mage has slowly been improving over time, and it seems to have gotten over a hurdle here, as I think this is the first time we've seen it banned out.
Yeah.
First anyway, first ban.
I am still not a big acolyte of aggro mage. I just don't really see why you would play it over a lot of the other aggro decks, other than it's better against quest rogue. I totally understand that. So maybe I'm basing it a little bit too much on ladder experience, where I've had a pretty miserable time playing that deck, just queuing into druids, which is a miserable matchup, odd warrior, all that nonsense that you just don't want to be facing. But in a tournament setting where you're trying to target the quest rogue, I can see it.
But let's see what targeted what, as the next stage of the picks and bans is queue order. And let's take a look.
Really thought we were going to be on screen for about 20 seconds.
Yeah, me too, me too. Anyways, there we go. First up, we have Blitzchung on the Zoo Warlock versus Tyler on the Quest Rogue. Definitely not a matchup that Tyler will have been anticipating. I think we've seen win rates registered as low as 15% for the Quest Rogue. Although that seems a little bit extreme. I definitely don't think the matchup's quite that bad.
Yeah, it's I think, the second worst for Quest Rogue after Aggro Mage, but I would say it's quite a lot better than Aggro Mage. It's a pretty big jump. And the game that we saw this exact matchup in the previous series today, which was very, very nearly won by Switzerland. They were just dying to a Soulfire off the top was the only way they lost that game after they'd stabilized with all their plethora of Annoyatrons.
Yeah, I mean, Giggling Inventor, we talk about the card a lot, but really, it is the card that has allowed Quest Rogue to make a pretty major comeback. Coining out Giggling Inventors and then Shadow Stepping them immediately to guarantee that they get played again the next turn for 3 mana, vanishing it, etc., etc. The card can stall for a very, very long time. Obviously, there are tech cards that beat Giggling Inventor, though. As I look at the Hong Kong's Zoo deck, what have we got here? We have Blood Knights.
A pretty standard version of the deck. One Doomguard, which is kind of interesting, one Dreadlord.
A Blood Knight and a Mossy Horror, though. They're the key cards that I was looking for there. The cards that actually just outright beat Giggling Inventor, at least before the quest has been completed.
Yeah, they came prepared. It's not necessarily such a foolproof strategy against Giggling Inventors, because it really is a testament to the power of the card that even though the Netherlands will fully be expecting a lot of Blood Knights and Mossy Horrors, you still obviously have to put Giggling in your Quest Rogue, and they still think it's worth bringing that over the Odd Rogue instead, even though there are these strong counter decks. And I think if anyone is going to be taking a win in this matchup, it's going to be Tyler.
Yeah.
He has been playing a whole bunch of this deck, not necessarily in the last couple of days, because he's been tweeting out that I think he hit rank 1 legend 3 times yesterday with Token Druid after it was taken back, and he got rank 1 legend 3 times in one day.
That's just classic Tyler, that, isn't it?
Yeah. The old ladder grinder Tyler, as he is dubbed by pretty much everyone, actually. But he basically plays whatever deck he thinks is best. That was Quest Rogue for a fair while. And I was just talking to him a little while ago on Twitter, and he was saying the rest of his teammates basically just deferred to him on all decisions with this deck. This is less of a democracy when deciding what the plays are with this deck. They give their input. Tyler has the ultimate decision, though.
Wow, and we're talking about 4 all-star players here. Mentahide, Theo, and Tice have a lot of achievements under their own belts, as we see Tyler's Mulligan, Double Shard and Zola. Okay, I think we have a game plan here.
Yeah, you are looking to just stall out the game as long as possible, maybe complete the quest with Glacial Shards, but once again, modern-day Quest Rogue, it's not necessarily about trying to complete it with bounce effects anymore. It's more about stalling until you find Sonya, then you complete it through that. But now that Tyler has the ability to play 4 Glacial Shards already, it's looking like he might just be doing it through shards and bounce effects.
Already, though, cause for hesitation. Is Tyler going to consider playing Shard before playing the quest? That would significantly slow down the rate at which he can actually complete it, but
I don't think I like doing that. It gains you 3 health, which is good, but not necessarily too important. Coining it out here as well, yeah, just get it on the board, you can start trading in. It clearly sets out his game plan here of I'm completing it with Glacial Shards here, and I think that's the correct way to go about it.
Blitzchung not quite getting the dream start of Voodoo Doctor and Happy Ghoul and other one-drop, etc. Well, I guess there's still chance. No, okay. That's kind of the start that does just blow out the Quest Rogue and prevent them to have any chance of winning.
Yeah, it is the start that won it for China in the previous series when they had, what, 2 Happy Ghouls, 4 minions on turn 1 on the board, which should only be possible through double Wisp and double Snowflipper Penguin, in my opinion.
I agree.
Many possibilities. I'm almost out of time.
In the light's name.
Kind of hesitant to play out the Light Warden there because pretty obviously it just dies on board to the Glacial Shard should Tyler decide to take the countermeasures against any healing that could come down and thus give an awful lot of attack to this Light Warden. But it's kind of a necessary evil here. I think Blitzchung just has to play nice and quick, because if you play too slowly against the Quest Rogue, you just lose every time. They go for Vanish, they go for Giggling, and you never get there.
The bonus for Blitzchung as well is that if Tyler is trading that Glacial Shard, it means he's not bouncing it. And he doesn't know that there's a second Glacial Shard available for Tyler in the hand. So as far as Hong Kong are aware now, there's no shards just yet. Though as we can see, Tyler pretty much has what he needs. Next turn he could go Shard, Shadow Step, and then the following turn play the 0 mana Shard and then Elven Minstrel to really start digging through his deck.
Or even then go Shard, Zola, Shard once again, and pray that his opponent doesn't have the ability to kill both of them off, and then he should be able to win after that. A lot of different lines that could be taken already here.
I think that's a little bit risky against a Zoo deck that runs Despicable Dreadlord. Like, just that giving Hong Kong the ability to single-handedly sweep all of the Glacial Shards in one go and really knock back that quest completion would be difficult.
Then if you go Glacial Shard, Shadow Step, and then on turn 4, Shard, Minstrel, that's still all your Glacial Shards on the board.
That's
so
true.
Still vulnerable to the Despicable Dreadlord then.
However, I guess the main purpose, as you said a few moments ago, Tyler doesn't have to complete it with Glacial Shards. Like, the way this deck works now is you stall, you stall, you stall. You get Sonya, you play the charges, you complete the quest with that. So really, what Tyler wants more than anything, even more than completing the quest with Glacial Shards right now, is he wants mana crystals.
Sadly, he forgot to put Wild Growth in his deck, so that's a little bit difficult to come by right now.
Interesting, I don't believe we mentioned it, that Tyler did make the trade with the Flame Imp last turn rather than with the Light Warden. I guess he was thinking, well, you know, I save myself 2 health if he doesn't have any heals. If he does, it's not going to get out of control immediately, so we can deal with the Light Warden later. And now it's going to have to be frozen every turn.
Blitzchung, I would imagine, yep, nice and simple play from his side of the board. While we do talk about the intricacies and difficulties of playing an aggro deck, it's still an aggro deck at the end of the day. You play the best thing you can generally, especially when your opponent isn't developing onto the board. You don't need to worry about fighting for tempo. You just play the best thing you can every turn.
Now, Netherlands have the Youthful Brewmaster. That's it. That is all of the tools that they need to complete the quest. But there's starting to be a lot of pressure staring Tyler down. And if he does want the guaranteed quest completion in a couple turns, it means only playing 1 Shard right now.
So if he goes Shard, Zola, and then keeps the other one back in hand, next turn he would go Shard, Brew, Shard, which leaves him at 1 mana, so he could not then go prep quest. So if he then goes Shard, Zola, Shard on this turn, that means there are 2 unfrozen minions on the board.
That can just trade away the Glacial Shards.
Trade it away, so then your quest isn't getting completed. So that's not really an option. I think you have to hold back the second one in your hand, as painful as it may be. Yeah. Pretty simple when you actually just maths it out and realize you have to complete it with Shard at the moment. Even if you were to find Sonya right now, you don't have a deck handle of Boar, so your quest isn't going to be completed anytime soon.
Key card that Tyler hasn't managed to draw a copy yet is Vanish, and if Tyler does draw Vanish, say right now, it would make a pretty big difference to his game.
Yeah, that would be insane. You could go prep Vanish right now, just go for double Shard on the board, set up for the quest on the following turn even.
I wonder.
Hong Kong clearly here wondering as to whether or not they should be trading here with double Soulfire in hand. They really, really, really want to get every point of damage through to face, which is clearly why they are opting to only kill off the Shard when they would undeniably like to kill off the Zola because it's a little bit more value. But they're thinking any plays that involve bouncing Zola back to hand are very slow, and they don't really need to be worried about slow plays. They need to be afraid of quick plays that will steal this board back, which is what Shard affords the Netherlands.
Now things get even more complicated than before, though, because, yeah, Netherlands can go Shard, and freeze both of those 3/2s, play the Panda, complete the quest, even trade away one of these Saranites. There's still 6 damage on the board.
I think they can just go Youthful Scalehide on this turn, though, and save back the Glacial Shard on this turn. Allows them to, you know, make some decent trades on the board. Fills out their mana more efficiently, but maybe actually getting the freeze effect right now is more useful.
It removes 1 extra damage, but they don't get the 1 extra healing.
Yeah.
But if they hold back the Scalehide, they can play it after the quest's been completed, heal for more. Also, if they heal now, it does buff the Light Warden, though the Light Warden's frozen, so that's not going to matter too much this turn. There's a lot of factors that go into this decision.
Yeah, this was a real tough choice for the Netherlands, and I think...
Oh, this is really interesting. They're freezing the Saranite so that the Flame Imp may have to trade and sacrifice itself.
And this does still put the same amount of stuff on the board this turn. Everything likely gets traded away.
This might actually be lethal. If the first Soulfire doesn't discard the other one, it's just lethal.
And I think Hong Kong is going to be going for it here. This is their chance to just close out this game before the Netherlands can do anything. And with that Mossy Horror being discarded, Netherlands' aggressive plays have closed out this game.
Oh boy. There you go. And as we said at the beginning, not one of the matchups Tyler would have liked. He did his best with the tools that he had, but no Glacial Shards, no Vanish to go with that preparation. Nothing he could do. Hong Kong take the first game of this elimination series.
And I've got to be honest, I almost missed the fact that there was even lethal on this side of Hong Kong there, because I was just so invested in figuring out what Tyler's plays were. It was such an intricate, delicate series of plays he had to make to even give himself a chance, make sure he always had a Glacial Shard in hand. Whereas for Hong Kong, as I was saying, they just play stuff onto the board, try and get some damage through to face, kill off the absolutely necessary minions, but then after that, double Soulfire quite easily closing things out.
All right, let's take a look at what's coming up next for Hong Kong versus the Netherlands. It's going to be Kin0531 on the, I believe, Quest Warrior versus Mitsuhide on the Aggro Mage. Now, this is very interesting to me because I've played quite a lot of Odd Warrior versus Aggro Mage recently, and I'd say, yeah, the Odd Warrior seems fine. You know, you've got Shield Slams, Shield Blocks, etc. So I haven't actually taken a good look at this deck list. Is this Odd Quest Warrior or just Quest Warrior?
Yes, it is Odd Quest Warrior.
It is Odd Quest Warrior. Right, well, there you go.
Yeah, was waiting for the hat to drop on that one. But this is a deck that I think has been played a lot by Zalay recently. Whenever I've been tuning into his stream, he's been playing a lot of Odd Quest Warrior or just regular Quest Warrior. And I would have to imagine, against the Aggro Mage, it's going to be doing much of the same thing.
Yep.
You probably throw away the quest because you don't worry about that win condition. The main thing is that you have the tank up hero power, which is so devastating against the Aggro Mage. They have to stick such a powerful board to really have any shot of fighting back against you. And even if they do stick a big board, you can just deal with it. You have plenty of removal in Dynamatic, Reckless Flurry, Brawl, all that goodness. They are going to be struggling to get the damage and the board presence to kill you.
Yeah, I've been trying to work out if this deck does have any weaknesses that regular Odd Warrior wouldn't have against Aggro Mage. I was thinking maybe they're not going to be as proactive, but no, they've got a lot of minions they can put on the board. They still seem to have all of the removal. They've still got the Dynamatics.
They're more proactive.
Right, yeah. They don't have Dr. Boom, but Dr. Boom's not incredible in that matchup anyway, unless you need to play the Hail Mary, Dr. Boom itself in order to gain the 7 armor. Yeah, I mean, this is looking great for Hong Kong.
It's probably even better, I would say, than regular, because they've got Rotten Applebaum in there, Giggling Inventor, which is not in all the versions, Tar Creeper, which is a fantastic anti-aggro card. Yeah, it's looking very nice here indeed for the Warrior, because even if a Luneth does come down for Mitsuhide, already in hand, Kin has the Gluttonous Ooze, although I wouldn't be too surprised if that is thrown away in favor of some of the slightly more anti-early game cards.
It's really difficult. Like, if they throw away Gluttonous Ooze and then Luneth comes down on 6, then Mitsuhide could just win the game. I would definitely be in favor of Hong Kong keeping the Ooze, personally. As far as the other cards, though, I guess everything just gets thrown out. Like you said, the quest's no good. Dynamatic can be okay, but not until turn 5.
Yeah. There's not really much that they're even looking for in this deck overall, because there's the only 1-drops are the quest, obviously, and Shield Slam, which is fine in this matchup, but not amazing. So maybe they're just looking for Tar Creeper.
Well,
anything to throw down in the first couple turns.
I was completely wrong. They threw the Ooze. They kept the Dynamatic. So what do you think the strategy is then behind that?
Well, the thinking is we can't get overrun. A 3-mana 3/3 is not good, and we don't even want to play it, because if they're keeping it, they're anticipating playing it on turn 6 to deal with the Luneth from their opponent. And they're instead thinking we need more ways to deal with minions here, because this says to me it's the decision you have to make. Are we more likely to die to minion pressure, or are we more likely to die to a Luneth? And I think what you are more likely to die to is if they hit a big board early on and you can't clear it.
Looking at this hand, though, but the hand on both sides, Mitsuhide has nothing to play. He's just pinged his opponent's face on turn 2. He's got Luna on turn 3, which Kin has the tank up Shield Slam to deal with. Yeah. This is going to be nigh on unwinnable for the Netherlands.
It's looking very grim. They don't have any of the minions you want early on. They've just got spells, which you do not want at all in this matchup. You just want as many minions as possible. Then you follow up with the spells later on. Double Dynamatic as well, available on turns 4 and 5, should very, very likely clear up the board completely for Kin, no matter what Mitsuhide throws down. I am, again, left wondering how Mitsuhide can take this game. And it is worth, I guess, pointing out now how bad these first couple of matches were for the Netherlands. It gets a little bit better later on, but these first few matches for them are miserable.
I would even argue it doesn't get that much better later on, going into... there is another unfavourable after this one coming up, so it's still going to be tricky.
Well, you say that.
No way does it run Pyromancers.
What, the OTK versus Shadowwalk?
Oh, no, I was actually talking about the Odd Paladin versus Shadowwalk Shaman.
Oh, right, sorry. I thought you meant the OTK Paladin. We'll get into that later. Tice has some interesting opinions on that deck, as he often does.
I mean, Theo was saying in the community show that it is the best Paladin deck. So
he was saying that. He would probably be wrong in that assumption. But he was saying that. So for the Netherlands, it's a little bit of a difficult decision as to whether you go for the Arcane Intellect here, because that's obviously, to me, the first port of call on this turn. It seems like the most basic play you can make. Refill your hand, try and draw some of those minions. Cinderstorm does have its merits now, though, while there's nothing on the board. Explosive Runes has its merits now, while your opponent will be starting to develop some minions. But neither of them are good. This is just such a bad turn, no matter what was done here by Mitsu.
Arcane Intellect feels very awkward in this deck generally, unless it's being played with a Sorcerer's Apprentice and just being cheated out. Spending a whole 3 mana in a deck that is so intent on splurging as much as possible onto the board as quickly as possible, it just feels bad.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great, but that's kind of why it has synergy in the deck and why it is a necessary evil, because it is such a splurgy deck. You just play everything as quick as you humanly can, and then you have to refill because you don't draw a Luneth or Luna every game.
What now?
Kin going to be considering playing that coin there to test for the counter spell, but find out from the IB Cal that it's Explosive Runes. They do take 5 damage in the process. You can argue that's about as good a job as Netherlands could ever have expected it to do.
Oh no, they've gone below the starting health total. However will Hong Kong win this game? And although we are memeing, if the Netherlands can find themselves a Luneth in any time soon and there isn't the answer immediately for Hong Kong, this is still not over. There is the possibility for Mitsuhide to win this, and also there is still a glyph that can get Pyroblast, it can get Book of Wonders, Deck of Wonders, sorry. There is stuff that can be done.
A Luneth has always been insane with Sorcerer's Apprentices held back for later on, but now when you've got Cosmic Anomalies you can hold back as well. Play the Luneth, draw your deck, play Cosmic Anomaly, 2 Sorcerer's Apprentices, you can go completely nuts.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to play Sorcerer's Apprentice here.
I agree.
With Dynamatic available to come down and completely destroy your board, it's just too bad if that happens. That's just game over.
So yeah, leaves them with the glyph.
Astral Rift?
Ooh.
Oh man. Okay, well, let's see what happens. There is some pretty crazy randomness that could occur here to maybe pull it back. Spectral Pillager in a big Sorcerer's Apprentice turn?
That's not bad, actually.
Should act as like a rubbish fireball. That's very, very optimistic, though.
And we're talking Sorcerer's Double Shooting Star, Arcane Missiles, and then deal, what, 5 damage with Spectre. Okay, maybe we might get 5 or 6 damage out of it.
Yeah. And
you're right, rubbish fireball.
Netherlands here were clearly hoping for something a little bit more beefy. They're not even hoping for just traditionally good aggro cards. Any big threat they could have thrown down that maybe goes unanswered was more what they were looking for.
I'm sure, though, that Lorinda, who is probably watching this from the other room, is getting very excited right about now because he's been saying he likes Aggro Mage with Mirror Image in it.
Yeah.
And this creates a Mirror Image.
It does indeed. It will be okay here because it protects against Dynamatic somewhat, but generally that's not really what you're afraid of as the Aggro Mage, is not being able to protect your minions from the odd warrior's minions of their own. It plays into mind control tech a little bit more. They're likely to be able to steal something. Your board still dies to Reckless Flurry. It's good, I guess, but it's not a game-winningly good minion.
I don't even know what Mitsuhide is going to think to do this turn.
Time runs out on me.
Fireball to kill off the
What to do?
Diehorn, I think, is all you've really got, because, again, if you do not stick board control here, the game is over.
Look how much work that Iron Beak Owl did. Yeah, okay, sure, it meant that Hong Kong took 5 damage from the explosive runes, but the fact that this Mana Worm is still just a 1/3, it's made a big difference.
It's made a big old difference. And there is Fire Plume's Heart, the classic meme of Quest Warriors up against Aggro Mage, is that is counter spell. That's all it really does.
It's not even as bad as drawing patches, though.
It has a purpose. It means you can go Reckless Flurry without having to burn the coin. Especially because the Netherlands are playing 2 copies of Counterspell in their deck.
Oh, okay.
A very tight deck list. The only card that isn't a 2 of is obviously the 2 legendaries, Luna and Aluneth. The Looney.
They sound very similar. May as well just be a 2 of.
Yeah. Yeah, well. That's some kind of logic that's right. I almost blindly agreed with you, because that's usually the path of least resistance for me.
Oh, this is just a load of nothing, isn't it?
Yep, this is not really anything that gets the job done quite yet, because even if Mitsuhide was able to go a little bit wide on the board here, it would still be met pretty swiftly, I would imagine, with a Reckless Flurry. This is kind of the benefit of Hong Kong not going all in on making as much armor as possible early on. They're realizing they don't need to do that. 4 armor a turn later on will easily pull them out of range. They just need to lock down board, which means they want to be able to utilize their Reckless Flurry for a 4 damage sweep.
Netherlands are racking up those 1 mana spells, though. They're getting ready for the Spectral Pillager turn.
Imagine if they did manage to somehow, with like a double apprentice, glyph, deal a 30 damage Spectral Pillager. It's possible.
It would just be the best moment of the Hearthstone Global Games, wouldn't it?
What would you do? Let's put something on the line, make it a little bit interesting.
Oh no.
If glyph goes into glyph more than, what do you want to say, 10 times? What will you do? What will you put on the line? This is like odds on, but we're doing it live on air, so you can't go back on it this time.
If that happens,
Yeah.
you can choose what I wear in next week's broadcast.
Okay, I like that. Well, yeah, should we say 10 times, or if Spectral Pillager delivers lethal? Should we say that? Keep it simple.
I think that's possible, but okay.
Same thing.
Why not?
Let's do it both ways. If Spectral Pillager delivers lethal, we can decide what the other wears on broadcast next week.
Oh no! It's gonna happen, isn't it?
Wait, but if we're both doing it, how does that work? So if it does it, we both get to decide what the other wears.
Sure.
Okay. So we're both hoping it doesn't happen,
Yep.
pretty much.
Yep.
Wow, this is a very convoluted bet I came up with here.
I'm already designing the carrot costume in my head.
I don't think I can say live on air the costume I'm designing for you. So lethal available for the Netherlands here with Primordial Glyph into 30 more Primordial Glyphs with Spectral Pillager.
No, they can't even do it this turn. Because they can only play 1 Sorcerer's Apprentice and then...
Well, no, they just go Glyph into 0 mana Glyph.
Oh, without even playing Sorcerer. Okay,
I'm
alright.
messing about with Sorcerer's Apprentices here.
In reality, though, the double Sorcerer's Apprentice with the Glyph and the many 1 mana spells, there is something that could happen here, but Mitsuhide wants a Luneth really badly.
Oh! That's 1 Glyph. Deck of Wonders. That is the card you go for in the most unwinnable of positions. This is the correct play for the Netherlands to go for.
The dream is dead.
This is very unlikely to work at all, but it's all they've got. So there's Just so many ways that Kin can deal with this board here. We could see mind-controlled tech to steal a minion, then take a couple of value trades. We could even see mind-controlled tech Dynamatic, I guess, if everything goes horribly wrong, but I guess you'd just go for a Dynamatic clear right away in that scenario.
I am kind of surprised that Mitsuhide even went with the Sorcerer's Apprentice turn last turn, because I guess they have to assume that the Aluneth is pretty low down in the deck, but guaranteeing 2 of those in 1 turn with Cosmic Anomalies later on could have been the turnaround that they needed.
Well, if they have 10 mana with 1 Apprentice and 1 anomaly, that will probably get the job. Well, it will probably be as good as they can.
Yeah,
anyway. It won't get the job done in all likelihood, but it's the best they can hope for.
All right, it's probably Spectral Pillager time now, isn't it? Sorcerer's Apprentice, Double Shooting Star, Missiles, Mirror Image, and Spectral Pillager will clear the board and start shooting a lot of damage to the face.
That's not bad. I guess you've got to go for it. You
So
don't really want to give up the other Apprentice.
Hmm.
And the Mirror Image does protect against Dynamatic, as you were saying before. It's very weak to Brawl or Reckless Flurry, though. Got to do it the mana-efficient way.
Just like you.
As in, use up all the mana crystals.
Right.
They'd have been floating 1 if they played the Sorcerers first.
I was just sat there wondering both what they were doing and what on earth you meant for a second there. But it is going to be the Spectral Pillager not delivering lethal here, so unless another one is found, we're safe for this week. No Carrot costumes to be worn by Mr. Derek Carrot.
That would be quite unlikely if a second one was found in this game.
Yes, I will agree there.
In fact, I think impossible, actually.
And here it is, Brawl ready to clear up this board. Mitsuhide was hoping maybe this Pillager could get through enough damage.
Even if the 5/5 survives, which it does, the Dynamatic with the coin does still clear it up. Don't get excited there, Darren.
Oh, no, I was thinking, because we didn't specify that Pillager has to deliver lethal with the back. It could just smack face 20 times. But yeah, this is now pretty much going to be it. It will have to be a Luneth in the next couple of cards for the Netherlands to even have a slim glimmer of hope.
And as we can see, Netherlands really do need to be getting rid of that Dynamatic, because if it survives next turn, Hong Kong can play Ziliax, magnetize it onto the Dynamatic, and be healing for 6 in addition to the armor. That's sort of a good result, but now the Dynamatic lives and all of the health just gets regained.
I rate that Cinderstorm 4 Smorks out of a possible 5 Smorks.
Sure.
I rate this Odd Warrior deck 0 Smorks, 5 Smorks.
That's not fair. It runs
6 Resident Sleepers out of a possible 5 Resident Sleepers.
It has the Ragnaros hero power, which is meant for smorking.
That's true.
That's not a fair comment, Derek Carrot.
That's fair. Okay, it gets 1 Smork out of a possible 5.
I wonder.
Regular Odd Warrior, however, that can have no smokes.
However, Purple's Frothing Berserker Odd Warrior, that gets a 10 out of a possible 5 Smorks, because it kills Queststroke on turn 5 in what is probably my favourite game of Hearthstone of the global games.
It's a very short game.
Yeah, that's why I liked it so much.
Unity. Precision.
Hong Kong deciding they want to win this way as opposed to a different way. An interesting decision, but a very valid one nonetheless.
But this is what I was saying last turn. Like, Mitsuhide really needed to get rid of that Dynamatic, because healing for 6 every single turn, it's just not possible to out-damage this.
Yeah, but if they ever win this game, they have to hope Ziliax is the bottom card,
Right.
Shield Block is the last card, Dynamatic, Brawl, Reckless Flurry, Shield Slam. They have to just hope that the entire deck, I don't know, falls off the table into the tavern floor where it's really, I don't know, wet on the floor so the cards break.
Quite the imagination you have there, Derek.
Yeah, it's imagination that's going to need to get Netherlands there in this game.
I mean, Netherlands could also have just hoped that a Luneth was a little bit higher up in their own deck.
That's a more likely scenario.
What now?
Engaging TC-130 into dislocator.
And I guess for the Netherlands, it's a Luneth, and it is the Scrolls of Wonder that are still in the deck. That's what they're holding
I
out
forgot
for.
about that,
Yeah, I
actually.
did for a second as well.
I mean, it can just Pyroblast Hong Kong's face 3 times.
Yeah.
It can do that.
They're out. They're not out of this game yet. What
Garrett.
would you put on the line if
This was fine.
Pyroblast hits face 3 times for lethal? Or I suppose it would have to be 4 times, actually, after this game.
Gonna have to think about that one. What are we gonna let Lorinda throw at us?
If Pyroblast lethal occurs through Scroll of Wonders, I will shave any word of your choosing into my hair. Any single word you like.
Deal.
Do not say it on broadcast, because I imagine it is probably not PG.
No.
Or is it just the word carrot?
I will reveal it after it happens.
I'm safe for the moment.
I'm more confident than I maybe should be about this. It's my team as well, Derek. Don't forget that. Like,
That is true.
I have more stake in Netherlands winning this, because if they lose, that's all of my caster picks.
I would say having a random word shaped into my head is a bigger stake than your casting. That would potentially, at your discretion, be the end of my casting career. And I think this is pretty much with lethal being represented, if I'm counting correctly, on the board next turn. Mitsuhide's final chance to make something happen. A Luneth is no longer good enough because there's lethal on the board. Has to be Scroll of Wonders and it has to be them right now.
Okay, Arcane Intellect is going to get at least 1 Scroll of Wonder. Surely, there it is. Oh.
What was that, Explosive Runes?
Oh.
There's another one.
No, that's not good. Oh. It's over.
There we go.
Nice try. Everyone's having a laugh on screen, though. I was so looking forward to you having the word Shutterwalk shaved into your hair, Derek.
Really? That's the best you can come up with?
Immediately on broadcast, yeah. I mean, maybe over time I'd have thought of something
Immediately
better,
on broadcast.
Yeah.
But there we go. We got that game out of the way. It was always, I guess, a small 0.0001% chance for the Netherlands to come back. But we have, I would argue, a somewhat spicier game coming up after the break.
Yeah, after the break, we are going to have Shadowrock Shaman versus the Netherlands, or Theo's maybe, or Tice's?
I think Tice.
Tice's infamous OTK Paladin. So definitely lots to look forward to when we come back for more Hearthstone Global Games. Hong Kong is 2-0 up against the Netherlands. If the Netherlands lose one more game of Hearthstone, just one more, they're eliminated from the Hearthstone Global Games. But coming up next is going to be their special, or Tice's special, OTK Paladin versus Loosefield on the Shadowrock Shaman. Tell me what you've learned about this matchup, Derek.
Yeah, so I was having a little conversation with Tyler just in the break now, where he was saying, while they got a little bit unfortunate with the queue order in the first couple of games, this is where he's feeling the comeback. Don't call it a comeback, but it's a comeback. And it's going to start right here with the OTK Paladin from Tice that he feels like is not a bad matchup against the Shadowrock Shaman. He thinks the combo will be going off quicker for the Paladin than it will for the Shaman.
I suppose the Paladin maybe plays a more aggressive game as well. I remember that what we particularly liked about OTK Paladin decks that we saw right back towards the start of this year, before the Witchwood even came out, was that they attack the opponent on 2 fronts. They have both the aggressive, they have the board control, and also they have the combo that can kick in later on and just win the game.
Tice getting rid of everything here. I would have to imagine looking for a card draw of his own in the form of what? You are going to have to excuse us. This is a deck that I don't believe either of us have played, because it is a very, very new addition that we've seen in Hearthstone at all.
So Loot Hoarders, Thalnos.
Well, I think that's Call to Arms, basically, is the main thing.
Call to Arms. Yeah.
Call to Arms is really what he's looking for. And outside of that, Tyler was saying they're looking for Call to Arms and they're looking for Death Knight. That's really what they want to get their combo rolling as quick as they possibly can.
Not Shrink Ray, then.
Probably not Shrink Ray.
No.
Yeah, turning your opponent's totems into 1/1s. Nicht so gut. But it's not an awful hand here for the Netherlands. They've got the ability to present a little bit of mid-game pressure with Sunkeeper Tarim. If they can stick a few minions, be it Hero Powers or Blood Mage Thalmoses, then they can start hitting their opponent for a good chunk of damage. But if that doesn't work, they've still got the card draw in Blood Mage Thalmos to get themselves through to Call to Arms.
It is pretty bad until, as you say, Call to Arms or the Death Knight hero card do get picked up. In the meantime, there's really just not that much that's going to happen. They can't tempo out Ancient Brewmaster, as they need that for the win condition. Stonehill Defender's okay, I guess.
Yeah, like you say, it's not great yet, but when they do find Call to Arms, I think we will be getting a swift reminder as to why Call to Arms was probably the best card in Hearthstone when it was at 4 mana. Maybe not quite, but way up there, I would argue. As it will be, if it gets 2 Loot Hoarders from the deck, effectively drawing 5 cards from the deck for 5 mana with the deck thinning and the card draw, which in a combo deck, oh my goodness, is that a good card.
It's funny how things can change over time, though, when you mention the best card in Hearthstone thing, because I think for a long time we'd have argued that the Druid Spellstone is one of the best cards in Hearthstone, as it's played in every Druid deck ever, until very recently when Ike removed it from Token Druid.
Well, I think I was just me that was saying that after I lost like 10 against 10 Druids in a row with Miracle Rogue, because they were just Spellstoning every single Hench Clan Thug I put on the board. But yeah, it's always a difficult debate as to what the best card in Hearthstone is, and one that new players are always anxious to argue right at the start is how good does it get in Hearthstone? What's the best card that you can see?
I don't remember which card won its Exiles poll a while back.
I think it was just Dr. Boom.
Was it Dr. Boom?
Yeah.
Oh, Dr. Boom, not new Dr. Boom.
Yes, not Mad Genius. I think in the end it was Dr. Boom versus Tarim.
Sure.
The final 2 choices. Both of which are obviously completely insane.
There is Uther of the Ebon Blade. Now we're ready to go.
And this was a nice play as well by Tice to go for the Pyromancer on turn 2. I didn't point it out at the time because we were having a little bit of a joke and a jape and a jest. But it did a great job of denying both of the powerful draw options for Loosefield. He obviously wanted to go Manatide Totem or Acolyte, but he couldn't because they would just be killed off, only 1 card drawn from each, and he wants to get a little bit more greedy than that, I would imagine.
We did cast this deck just yesterday, and it was able to achieve the win condition. In fact, it was the only of the Netherlands decks that did get a win in yesterday's series, so they have to be feeling somewhat good about it.
I mean, it's clearly a half-decent deck that they're bringing it. I'm still completely unconvinced, not because I don't think it's good, but because I don't think I've actually seen it played once. It's so recent, so few people are playing it. I have like a rough idea of how the combo you're trying to make it work, because obviously you play the Horsemen of the Apocalypse, you bounce some of them back to your hand, and then as long as you have 1 in play, I believe, that is then a combo. If you have 1 in play and 1 in hand, then you can go play 1, Hero Power, Pixie, Hero Power. Which is a pretty difficult setup to actually achieve.
Unless the one you have in hand is the same as the one you have in play. And
yeah, it gets a little bit complicated. Because I didn't even know they had to be different horsemen.
Right, really?
I thought they might be functionally identical, but it does have to be all 4 different named horsemen.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad I know, because I would definitely have messed that up otherwise.
Looking at the Shadowwalk Shaman's game plan for a moment, though, they've played a Saronite. They have a Life Drinker. Still a long way to go before they're going to be winning the game.
And it's not necessarily all too far off from Netherlands winning the game, because it is also important to remember, while every kind of Horseman Paladin deck has revolved around having an OTK combo, whether it be Beardo previously or the new Brewmaster and Pixie version, it's always revolved around having some kind of an OTK potential. It doesn't have to do that, though. You can just press that hero power every turn, and if the removal isn't there, you still just win. You don't need any of the other cards if you are ahead on board, because the Shaman only has so much removal.
It's one of the things that I think actually Lorinda has been talking about for the longest time when talking about OTK Paladin, is that people just forget that the 1/1 buff on the Paladin hero power and the fact that they have to be removed every single turn, That could be a lot for certain decks to deal with.
It can be really good, especially as Uther also represents just 15 damage straight to the dome. If a big board can be made through Sunkeeper Tarim, which with double Righteous Protector is not an outside possibility. It's not a ridiculous possibility at all.
And 20 healing against more aggressive decks.
Absolutely. It's a good Death Knight. I thought it would see more play. I was in the Trump SC train of thought on this one.
Pew! Sugar is a cool card.
It is a cool card. I did think it would be a little bit better than it was. But I was anticipating. I always think Control Paladin's going to make a big comeback because
Really?
I liked it so much back in the day, but it never really does.
The best shot Control Paladin has, I think, is certainly this version. Like the OTK version, or anything that runs Uther, and that second win condition.
Yeah. Late game win conditions are too strong in Hearthstone to rely on just traditional Control Paladin value anymore. Without N'Zoth and without anything can happen anymore, which, oh man, what a deck. What a deck. You need to rely on something else to get the job done. And so for both teams here, well, for the Netherlands in particular, actually, it has been clearly setting out what their game plan was in the early turns, which is draw cards, which they've done a little bit. They drew off the Thalnos, but also they are trying to deny draw from their opponent, which they have done tremendously well. They played the Pyromancer on 2 to deny the Acolyte of Pain or the Manatide Totem. They played Shrink Ray to make sure only one card could be drawn off the Acolyte. This is what they are trying to do until they get their win condition rolling, and they've done it very, very well.
Reporting for duty.
Mind if I roll me?
I would imagine Netherlands are looking to hold back these Righteous Protectors because you want to be able to go for one big Sunkeeper Tarim turn, I would imagine. Because you are a little bit vulnerable to Lightning Storm if you start playing these out. But I guess one is like the middle of the road.
It's the half measure, isn't it? Now next turn, if Tice wants to, he can play the other one and play Tarim. He gets at least the one extra 3/3 with Divine Shield. There is a solid chance that Loosefield doesn't bother clearing this. It's not exactly looking that threatening.
That's true, yeah. I guess this does a good job of making a decent board for Tarim whilst not appearing overly scary.
Yeah.
And also playing around MCT, which is another good point to not play the other Righteous Protector. I wouldn't have liked both, and I also wouldn't have minded none being played.
Right.
This, I think, is a fine middle-of-the-road play, but it does prove to be just scary enough. The alarm bells are ringing for Loosefield, and he wants to get rid of this board, lest he be thoroughly Tarimmed.
So now Tice finds himself one turn away from being able to coin out Uther of the Ebon Blade. He does have Quality Consecration, which isn't really that big a deal in this matchup. Maybe they have to play it to remove the Life Drinker and the Manatide Totem.
Yeah, they kind of want to save that, I think, for dealing with a board of Shadowbox, because that's often how you lose his control decks, is not only the infinite OTK combo of Shadowbox, but the fact that they just stick a big board.
Right.
Maybe they want it to deal with Grumble or a Keleseth board, because Keleseth has been played, so chain gangs are a bit scarier. I don't think this warrants a Consecrate quite yet. Wow.
Okay.
Stand corrected, though.
Well, I guess the downside of Hong Kong being able to maybe grumble back the Life Drinker, also drawing cards from the Manatide Totem, proved too much for Tice to risk. And also this again sets up a potential Hero Power Sunkeeper Tarim next turn. He'd prefer to play Uther of the Ebon Blade, though, I think.
And this is very much in line with what Tyler was telling me that their strategy is in this game, is to deny card draw,
right,
which they've been doing as aggressively as humanly possible throughout this game.
What to do?
And I do completely defer to Tice on all decisions made. He has played this deck a whole bunch. I have not. He is also Tice, and I am not.
Are you?
No. You may think, because of how successful and charismatic I am, that I was.
I thought you looked a little bit like Kalento, and so
Right.
might be Tice.
I already look enough like one Hearthstone personality. Let's not complicate things.
You do look a little bit like Kibler, actually.
There's little time.
Bit close to the bone there, mate.
Pain, speak to me. Nice to meet you.
Loose field here, just throwing down minions. I was gonna say he's trying to play around Uther here by freezing face. That does not do that, though. That's not how that works. This is a play around True Silver, I guess, because, once again, after you play a Death Knight, you unfreeze your hero. It's a new hero being played. Or I guess maybe it's like they're already frozen, because they're like frozen Death Knights.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You can't freeze an ice cube.
It does work with Dr. Boom as well, though, so maybe that puts
That's true.
puts a crack in the theory. It used to be the case that if you played a new hero, you would get to hit again with your weapon, if you'd already done so.
Oh, yeah.
Back when Jiraxxus was the only hero you could play. And Major Domo, I guess.
And once again, denying that card draw for Tice, which has been pretty much every card draw available in the deck now. It's double Acolyte, 1 Mana Tide, 1 Farsight as well. So they've done a good job of denying it. But Hong Kong are still getting a little bit scarily close to their combo. They need, what, a Chain Gang and a Grumble now to get that truly rolling.
They have actually played one Chain Gang already.
Oh, they played one Chain Gang, right.
It is just the Grumble if they want to be able to achieve it with minimal chances. I was sort of expecting the coin hero last turn rather than the Sunkeeper Tower. That also would have prevented the card draw and set that up. But again, I guess Ty's just taking the chance to create a bit of a board here. It's going to have backfired.
I think this was probably his best shot at... Because if he goes big board on this turn and it's not dealt with, he can then go Uther to the face and start representing a little bit of damage. It couldn't really have worked out much worse than this, though, I don't think.
No.
Because now they don't have a board clear to this, and Tice just has to try and mop this up with his weapon, I suppose.
Again, he does heal for 5 each time one gets played, and thanks to the 5 armor he'll get from Uther, he will be going up to 34 total health this turn.
However, he does have the ability to get a whole bunch of Death Knights bounced back to hand.
Yeah.
But the odds of those being all 4 different ones every time it's rolled is pretty unlikely, I would say. Because we could see Hero Power Brewmaster, next turn Hero Power Brewmaster, next turn Hero Power Zola, or in whatever order you want, and then Hero Power all 3 of the Horsemen you gain back to hand on the following turn.
Yep. Well, it would be the Horseman played first and the Hero Power to guarantee that the last one
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
played.
good point. So the first 3 then would have to all be different.
Different,
for
yeah,
that to work. Which is unlikely, obviously.
As just to clear that up for anyone that was wondering, the Hero Power will always generate one that's not currently on the board.
Yeah.
But if it's in your hand, then you can still get that.
Much like the Shaman Hero Power
Yeah,
totems,
yeah.
pretty much identical.
There is little time.
I was going to say, I wonder if you're allowed to press the Hero Power totem when you already have 4 on the board as the Paladin. That is probably a stupid comment.
And now Loosefield just going to prevent Tice from healing.
Yeah.
Whilst also having this board. I guess it's Call to Arms time. Well, as the second one gets picked up.
There's not much left in the deck, though. We've seen 1 Pyromancer, 2 Protectors, Thalnos. There's enough for 1 full suite of Call to Arms. I believe there's 3 minions left. So the second one will do nothing, I don't think.
That's fine, though, because there's the mana for Tice to Hero Power and Zola still, which is the beginning of that strategy you were describing before. That's Thoris Trollsbane. Why are you frowning at me, Derek?
I just wonder if I'm being stupid. How did he get a Righteous Protector from Call to Arms? He's already played 2.
I wonder.
Oh, he did get a Righteous Protector earlier from Stonehill Defender.
Oh, from Stonehill. Right. Okay, sorry, my mistake. I was thoroughly confuzzled there. And that means, actually, with Crystal Smith Kangor and another Righteous Protector in there, there's enough for 2 more minions, I believe, to be summoned from the deck. I was just wondering if Psychic Scream or something had been played. I was losing my mind.
He actually got... Oh, I was going to say something very stupid. I was going to say you got the same horseman again, but no, it's just the same one with Zola still on the board.
So Hong Kong leaving himself very vulnerable to a consecration here,
Oh,
which
no.
is why the options were either Healing Rain or Grumble everything back to that hand. And now if any kind of a board is played whatsoever for Tice, Shudderwock can come down to completely freeze that bad boy up. And with the Grumble being played, the combo is now available to Loosefield, and Tice, with his hand in his hair, knows he is very possibly going to be dying in the next couple turns.
The combo isn't just available, but it's guaranteed if that Grumble isn't dealt with.
So now we want to see a Hero Power and I guess Brewmaster to find a Death Knight that is not Thoros Trollbane.
With the coin, actually, if he does that this turn, then he will have the mana to play Horseman from the hand, Pixie, Hero Power, Pixie, Hero Power. That costs 11 mana, I believe, unless I'm miscounting there. Yeah, it does.
That sounds about right.
So I think Tice's only out to win this game now is Hero Power, get a different Horseman, play the Brewmaster, and then next turn draw the Pixie.
Or for the Shudderwock to fail.
But it can't if the Grumble survives.
That is true. Hand space notwithstanding, he can't kill it off. He can sacrifice off his own loot his loot hoarder.
Oh, he's playing the coin now?
Okay, to protect himself with Giggly Inventor.
But now... What?
Yeah, I think I was actually preferring your line of play. He knows that Mind Control Tech is in hand as well.
Okay, well there are now 10 cards in hand, but as soon as the Shudderwock gets played, it bounces back Grumble, and then Grumble can be played and bounce back the Shudderwock again.
We could even just see a 0 mana Healing Rain being thrown down here as well, just
Yeah.
to clear the space from the hand. As, yeah, I imagine we will. The Zola has not been played for Hong Kong, so he doesn't need to worry about 9 mana Shudderwocks back in hand.
So just trying to get into the Netherlands headspace here, I guess this is the play assuming that there's no Shudderwock. They've decided if there's a Shudderwock, we probably lose. Let's just play it as if it doesn't exist. The play I was describing was the only out if there is a Shudderwock.
Yeah, even then, Mind Control Tech is still in play. I guess they're just afraid of dying to Grumble stuff. But as we can see there, it almost going in the right order there for Loosefield, as the Brewmaster came back first in the wrong order with the Mind Control Tech, but there is still the ability to get a 1 mana Shudderwock back to hand, which means we could see probably some dumping of some... well, actually, you don't want to dump 1 mana guys because they get back to hand, but basically, there's 1 mana Shudderwocks, you're probably fine.
Well, if Tice does deal with the Grumble this turn, and Shudderwock whiffs, the game's still up.
Well, Shudderwock, if the Grumble is just left up,
then Grumble gets bounced,
Grumble
and then Grumble can be played again, and then Shudderwock gets played again. It's
but
still
then
not lethal, though.
you don't have lethal, exactly. You need to play 10 Shudderwocks this turn as Loosefield to be able to win the game. He cannot kill off his own Grumble here. I imagine Tice will not kill off this Grumble now. I think killing off Grumble here is just a mistake. Because if that happens, you can then just play Shudderwocks. You hope Shudderwock doesn't fail, and then you play it 10 times. I think if you leave Grumble up there...
And if Tice survives next turn, he's just got lethal.
He has just lethal, because he did roll 3 different hero powers 3 turns in a row. Assuming, though, that he has space on board.
Yeah.
I think he should be able to get there pretty much every time by sacrificing stuff into Shudderwock, so that's not really a concern.
Considering playing Pyromancer, maybe get a cheap spell and use that. No, that wouldn't work. All right, well, it all comes down to this turn. I guess Hong Kong could trade in the Grumble and then play Healing Rain, which would clear up hand space, but that still wouldn't allow for 10 Shudderwocks to be played.
You don't have enough, and with another Life Drinker just being burned, you can't even just play 5 on the same turn for lethal. They do not have the ability to kill them on this turn. I think. Because even if it goes Saronite first, then Grumble.
Right, well, freezing these minions prevents Tice from trading
Oh
them
my
in,
God.
meaning that he will not have the board space.
And he can then go Shuttlewalk to bounce them back to hand and then play them again. This is such a sick play.
It still does leave Loosefield with a very full hand, though.
There is little time.
You can play one.
But then you
healing-
can sacrifice off your own glacial shards.
Oh, the following turn?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And then not going back to hand. Yep, get rid of these now. Perfect. Even going for another freeze, I would imagine, on the Crystal Smith Kangor. This is such a smart play from Loosefield, man.
Tice clearly agreed.
I did not think this would ever come up. Tice has lethal, but he can't do it.
He's actually 2 mana short.
Wild Pyromancer Equality only leaves him with 6 mana.
Yeah, so he's 1 hero power short.
And if he does that, he possibly just dies, because then if Shuttlewalk goes in the right order, that's 30 damage.
Yeah, and
Can't gain any armor. Unless he goes Call to Arms to summon the Beetle, then Equality, then Pyro Equality?
I think the Beetle's gone, though, isn't it?
I don't think so. If he goes Wild Pyromancer, Call to Arms, Equality,
He ends up on 33 health, and 10 Shuttlewalks won't kill him.
yeah. There's, in the deck, there's still 1 Pyromancer, I believe, so maybe that's, oh sorry, there's still 1 Loot Hoarder, so maybe that's a 50-50 to get the right minion there, because you don't have enough space on board.
He's doing
I
it!
think he's going for it.
Frostmourne calls.
But if you don't play Pyromancer first, then you don't have enough room on board
Yeah.
to play it.
Yeah. Oh, he...
Oh no, there's only
Beetle
one
was the only
left.
card left, it's
Beetle's
gonna
the
work!
only play left.
No way!
So sick! He spotted it! Oh my god! The board is cleared!
And Tice ends up on 33 health. He has the board space to play the 4 Horsemen next turn.
Oh my god, this was so smart by both teams!
Loosefield has 30 damage available to him by playing 10 Shadowwalks. But it's just not enough.
Even if this goes in the right order, by going for Chain Gang first, then the Grumble, this isn't enough damage to win the game.
Grumble goes off at least twice as well. So it's very likely to go off in the right order.
Yeah, point.
Then again. Okay.
Has Grumble actually been played twice though?
I'm pretty sure it has.
Oh yeah, there we go, yeah. So there we go. The Shuttlewalk is there. 30 damage is available on this turn. But it doesn't make any difference. At 3 health, I think Tice has won this game.
Unbelievable. All because Loosefield's only played 1 Life Drinker.
Yep, the other one was
Which,
burned.
if you'll remember, earlier on, Tice played a Quality Consecration on a board that had Life Drinker on, guaranteeing that Grumble wouldn't then bounce that back. Which, obviously, this wasn't the plan.
This was not the plan. This was nobody's plan ever.
My jaws that bite, my claws that catch.
This was such a cool game. These were the... This is an example of not knowing matchups inside out and not knowing general Hearthstone principles. This was an example of having to know, as I believe the combo might have failed anyway now because Shuttlewalk went in the wrong order. Oh no, maybe we're still all right. Anyway, the point is, this was an example of thinking on your feet. Very lateral thinking needed from both teams to exploit this scenario.
If Shadowwalk did fail then, that would be awkward because then the Beetle play just wouldn't have mattered. But there you go, the 4 Horsemen come down. Hong Kong really seeing a serious eye roll there. Oh man, what a game. What a game.
Tice is actually just a god, isn't he?
Yeah.
How does he do it? And they said they were going to mount a comeback, and what better way to mount a comeback than upon the backs of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse?
Well, I'm very happy about that game for a multitude of reasons. Firstly, it's just one of the best games I think we've seen in the Hearthstone Global Games. That was so well played on both sides. A great spot by Tice and by you for the Beetle equality play to allow Netherlands to survive. But now Netherlands have a foot in the door. They are not ready to get eliminated from the Hearthstone Global Games yet. Let's take a look at what's coming up next. I believe it's going to be more Shadow Walk, but this time from Theo for the Netherlands versus Shy on the Odd Paladin. So it's still going to be difficult for the Netherlands.
Yeah, and I do want to pick up one thing on you said, in that you think it was a fantastically played game on both sides. To be honest, I don't know that. Tyson could have made throughout the game a bunch of mistakes, but I do not know this OTK Paladin deck very well at all. However, I absolutely agree. The last 2 turns from both players were just, mwah, that was beautiful Hearthstone.
Yeah, beautiful Hearthstone. Yeah. And as I said, it's now going to be tough for the Netherlands. I believe if we get to game number 5, they're going to be in a much better position as we're talking Togwaggle Druid versus Odd Rogue. So really, it all comes down to this game. They need to win as the Shadowwalk Shaman versus the Odd Paladin, which is definitely winnable.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not good. You don't want to be in this matchup without Wild Pyromancers, because they can build up boards that are at all points. The annoying thing about Odd Paladin is their boards are not necessarily that scary at all times in terms of what you actually see. Right. It's always the potential. It's the buffs that you know that are going to come down that mean you have to use your removal really inefficiently. If they have a board of 1/1 tokens, you might have to Volcano that lest you just get leveled up, or Fungalmancered, or Raid Leaded, and then you're just dead.
So the way they have to play it is sort of try and wait for the level up, endure the first wave of attacks, then Volcano, heal back up again. But it's so tricky to time that right.
Yeah, that's kind of what you're trying to do. I think the primary game plan, however, is to try and dominate the board as Shadowwalk. If you have Chain Gangs on the board, Zola, Keleseth, Shards, you don't have to use your Lightning Storms of Volcanoes, because you value trade. You're ahead on the board, you take out all their cheap minions because yours just have higher health.
So Theo finds Shadowwalk already in his opening hand, and that's gotta be a tough choice, because the difficulty is Netherlands have to survive until turn 9. So yeah, gonna throw everything away. MC Tech is kind of okay, I guess. I was going to say great, but then I realized it's probably just going to steal a 1/1.
It's not bad. Against this start that Hong Kong look, like they're opting for of the Blessing of Might with a 1-drop, it's not so good because they're less likely to go wide. But double MCT, maybe if they get 5 minions on board, you can just spam double MCT a little bit later on, steal a couple of 3/3 taunted Silverhand recruits, and maybe swing this back in your favor as the Shadowwalk. And this is not a bad hand at all for the Netherlands here. Theo can start to dominate the board, maybe with just Mind Control tech on turn 3. I'm not sure if you'd rather have the potential to take out a Maul or a Vine Cleaver later on with the Ooze, or if you'd rather steal a minion. Maybe worrying about Vine Cleaver is a little bit too late game thinking. You just need to start killing them quickly.
Again, it's difficult though, isn't it? Because oozing a Vine Cleaver can really be a big factor in keeping the Netherlands in the game. I'd say Glaston's Ooze is much more valuable than Mind Control tech in this matchup. If I was going to just throw down a 3-drop and not worry about its effect, I'd choose MC tech here. Though Hong Kong have created a very awkward board for Theo.
Yeah, and Mind Control techs are just good though. Like, as soon as they go wide on the board, it's not like you're always going to be stealing a 1/1. You can usually give yourself at least a 50% chance of taking something better.
True.
It's a really, really tough shot. And if they go for weapon on the next turn, like with the Blessed Maul, or sorry, any of the Mauls, then Gluttonous Ooze is good, but it's not like game-winningly good. It's just a little tempo swing back in your favor. And even then, you might just rather go for Saronite Chain Gang on turn 4 because it's an on-curve play.
Maybe it's Mana Tide Totem here. Do you think that's too slow? It probably eats up the 4/2 attack.
I think you'd rather play stats here.
Yeah. All right.
Engaging TC-130 into dislocate.
I think, yeah, this is probably the way I'd go because, like I was saying, Vine Cleaver is too late game. If they play Maul on this turn, you might rather play Saronite Chain Gang anyway because it's on curve.
Yep. And they've got a second MC tech anyway, so,
Yeah.
you know, like, Now they have one of each of these effects. If they have to throw out another one of these 3 drops, then it will be a tougher decision. But for now, throwing out the MC Tech, getting a trade next turn, and as you said, setting up for the Sound Knight Chain Gang on turn 4 seems like the way to go.
And if they do have Vine Cleaver later on, I guess you do really want to find the Ooze to be dealing with that.
No more available for Shy, though. In fact, his turn is not looking great. It's looking like it's going to have to be the Mecharoo and Hero Power with nothing better to do. And that sort of made a bit of an opening for Theo. He can trade away the 4-2. He can play MC Tech if he wanted to, or again, just set up the Sound Knight. That seems fine.
Yeah, just Saronite on this board is... actually, you're pretty afraid of Coin Fungalmancer then, aren't you?
That's
you
true.
get pretty destroyed, actually, if Fungalmancer comes down. So maybe Saronite Chain Gang is not the way to go.
But then what's better against Fungalmancer? I don't think MC Tech even is.
I think it's a little bit better because in all likelihood, you're probably setting up for Volcano on the following turn anyway.
Yep.
And if you are going to be Volcanoing on turn 5, you'd rather have a Chain Gang in hand, I think, to follow up on turn 6.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do steal the 4-2 or the 1-1, the Mecharoo, then you're pretty happy.
However, if Netherlands plays MC Tech, Hong Kong can just ignore it and go face with everything, in which case they're not really going to do anything, but if he plays the taunts, at least they absorb the damage before the Volcano gets played. It's complicated.
It's very, very complicated.
They are going to go with the MC Tech, though, in the end, it looks like.
Wow, going with it first for the potential to take out the 4-2 in case they miss. They take the Silverhand Recruit, which I guess is not the worst option, because you'd rather have that than the Flame Elemental to play around the level up, of which we see 2 now in hand for Hong Kong. This is a really beefy hand they've got here. A lot of stuff to be doing with their mana.
If you, like me, are a Netherlands supporter, this is the time to be cheering them on in Twitch chat. I hope we're seeing a lot of bits going their way. They need it. They need it.
Mushroom power!
Alright, so now I guess Theo doesn't have to play the Volcano.
I finally won a game of Caster Chicken. I never win those.
Oh, just being quiet.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Sottle is very good at Caster Chicken. But yeah, just going with the face plan here for Shy. Why would you trade? You just want to be getting this damage through to face. You've seen both mind control techs already, so going with more than 4 minions on the board is the least of your worries.
So, do you think Theo can get away with not playing the Volcano this turn? If he trades into one of the 3-3, sets up the Sound Knight Chain Gang, he's got the Healing Rain, he's got the Volcano for if this board gets any bigger.
Even then, you're playing off curve.
It's true.
So what happens if you go for Volcano here? On turn 5, the best thing they can do is usually 3-drop Hero Power, maybe Giggling Inventor. They very possibly throw down a Corridor Creeper as well, because this is the first time that a lot of minions have died.
Wow, not even going to play the Sound Knight Chain Gang, going to set up the Acolyte of Pain instead.
Yeah, I think if you're not going to go for Volcano, I like this more, because if you go for Saronite Chain Gang, it gets value traded. You still have to go Volcano next turn anyway, very likely, but you've lost one of your best defensive minions. Whereas here, you draw a few cards. If they don't kill off your Acolyte, you draw 1,000,000 cards.
3, actually, but sure, we'll go with them and leave it.
Yeah, well, you draw a lot of cards. Anything more than 2 is basically 1,000,000 cards.
Wow.
Ultimate Infestation is like 1,000,000,000 cards.
It's like when people say, when you look at breakpoints, oh, it's fine, having 1 health is the same as having 2 health anyway. Well, you're saying having 3 cards is about the same as drawing 1,000,000 cards anyway.
It will get the job done here, I would imagine, for the Netherlands.
It's scary in the meantime, though. However, Hong Kong can't play either of those 2 level ups, which are just clogging up the hand at the moment. it is just going to be Giggling Inventor or Hero Power Blood Knight.
I think they want to start getting those hero powers rolling, both for the level ups and the Corridor Creeper. Blood Knight does nothing against Shaman, because Shadowwalk Shaman obviously is not allowed to play Giggling Inventor because of their Shadowwalk. They don't want to be filling up the board space when that comes down. So I do like hero power Blood Knight here. Get nice and wide on the board. If they do have a board clear, you can keep up with Corridor Creeper, hero power, all that goodness.
Now the mana total isn't quite doing it for the Netherlands. They'd like to maybe play Saronite, Healing Rain, or both Saronites or something, but with only 6 mana, it's looking like this turn will have to be the Volcano.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of why it's better to go for Volcano next turn instead of this turn. If you go Saronite Hero Power as Theo, there's a value trade, the other one is taken out, you're taking a lot of damage through to face. And if you go for Volcano on this turn, their follow-up on the next turn probably isn't that scary. It's something you can deal with. Yeah. Feels like it's finally time. The board's too wide, they've committed too much stuff. You don't want to give them value trades. You've drawn your cards with Acolyte. Now clear off the board, then worry about stabilizing after.
But now for Shy, he can play a pretty wide board again here if he wants to. It's Giggling Inventor or Hero Power, unfortunately, and I think Hero Power will be the choice given the 2 level ups in hand. But still, Corridor Creeper Glowtron Hero Power is a pretty nice way to get back onto the board. I guess it's a little weak to Lightning Storm. Well, it's not really. I am surprised that they seem to be going with the Giggling Inventor.
Yeah, I think I also would have liked the hero power here, actually. You get the strong level up, like you said, next turn for 6 damage through to face and another couple of buffs. That play would actually lead into Hagatha, though, in 2 turns' time. Like, if you go hero power now and then hero power level up next turn, it curves perfectly into their turn 8 Hagatha.
True.
Which probably factors quite heavily into their decision-making,
True.
I imagine. Yeah, so maybe because of that, actually, it's worth holding back.
This is a very hard board for Netherlands to deal with.
That's true. This is a lot of damage going face.
It's 15 health exactly, so it's very weak to a Volcano if Netherlands did have the second Volcano.
Yeah.
But they don't, and what they do have is rather lacking. They could callous that Healing Rain, or I think, again, I'm looking at Saronite Chain Gang and thinking that's probably the best chance they have of stalling.
Yeah, Chain Gang looks pretty good here. You take
1
damage to face. You're expecting Vine Cleaver on your opponent's next turn in the worst case scenario, and they've had a couple of cards that have been stuck in hand for a while.
And then they can Glass and Suze and play the second Saronite, which would be great.
So it really doesn't work out that bad. I think going for the Saronite here, if you are expecting Vine Cleaver, and if it doesn't come down, as we can see, it just ends up... I was going to say it ends up in the fact that you don't take much damage to face. You are then, however, not clearing up any of their board, so maybe you want to go Mana Tide to start drawing through to Lightning Storms, Volcanoes a little bit quicker. I think it's closer than it looks, but you take so much damage if you go Mana Tide and they have, say, a Vine Cleaver.
I mean, a Leroy plus Blessing of Might would have been lethal or something if they went Mana Tide this turn.
And that raid leader looks pretty juicy to me.
It does significantly raise the amount of damage that goes to the face here, from 1 to 6, actually, as both the Giggling and the Corridor Creeper get straight trades. And both the Neutrons and Glowtron hit face for 2 damage each.
I like the look of that.
Yeesh.
Yeesh is right.
Yeah.
Theo saying yeesh. Shy just saying yeet as he sends all of this directly through to the face, I would imagine. Setting up for Leroy nonsense to close out the game.
Again, it's only 11 health, 12, 13 health if Hong Kong plays the hero power being left on the board, so a Volcano would clear all of this up.
That is true.
I wonder.
And that will make Netherlands very sad that they do not have that possibility. But if they had gone for Mana Tide Totem last turn, they would have had 6 more damage coming to the face on this turn, so they would have been down to 3. Still probably without a board clear as well.
Ooh, double Healing Rain is one way of stalling, though. They can put themselves up to 30 if they want to this turn. It would mean just playing Keleseth with it and then taking a lot of damage. But they don't have a way of removing this. They don't have Hagatha. They haven't drawn either of their Lightning Storms yet. It's not really been that great for Netherlands, has it?
So what happens if they go for 1 Healing Rain, Mana Tide, Hero Power? They heal back up to 21. And with 15 damage on board, then 6 damage would close out the game. However, there's no space on board.
So level ups. How much would one level?
So level up would be 4 extra damage. That would not close out the game. It's not a ridiculous play to go for.
This reduces actually more damage than meets the eye from the board.
That's fair.
As we're only now looking at 7. Yeah.
Yeah. Mana Tide was definitely worth considering, I think. Well.
Oh, okay.
Champions Maul would have been a little bit of extra damage.
If that was if that was the is it Blessed Maul? Is that the attack one? Which is the extra attack one? I always forget.
Can't remember.
Anyway, if this was the gain +1 attack Maul,
yeah,
then that would have basically negated everything Netherlands just did to that raid leader. But as it happens, 9 potential damage with the Maul, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage if he plays a level up as well. Which still isn't that much.
And I think he probably will. Level up makes you less resilient to Volcano, I think.
Not going with the leftmost one. I don't think it matters too much, but...
Yeah. I don't think either was kept on the mulligan, so it doesn't really give any information away, I don't think. Both have been sitting around in hand forever. Sure, still representing lethal very happily next turn. Netherlands, I think, are going to be forced to dig here.
Yeah.
Well, not again, not necessarily. We could see Chain Gang, Healing Rain, Hero Power, or Farsight, Mana Tide, Healing Rain.
I guess Keleseth doesn't do all that much from this point moving forwards. Both Saronites have been drawn. Farsight into a Hagatha, though, would be huge for the Netherlands. So would a Lightning Storm even, in most cases.
Any kind of board sweep is really what it's being looked for here. That doesn't even allow double Saronite.
Oh boy, nor can they play Saronite plus Healing Rain this turn.
Unfortunately, you can't Zola a Healing Rain twice.
I guess it's probably just Saronite, Hero Power, Zola on the Saronite, and hope that they're not dead.
Yeah, he takes so much damage.
I think they would be dead.
Yeah, it's clearly...
They need the taunt
I
totem
think
here.
they've got... Would they be dead? Even with a level up?
With the level up?
Oh, level up and the Champions Maul. Yep, sorry, yeah, they would be
think it would be.
Yes, you are correct. And so there it is. Level up, Champions Maul. I think that is going to be lethal available. And what does that mean, Mr. Falcone?
It means that my one remaining team in the Hearthstone Global Games has been eliminated, if that's what you were going for.
Yeah, commiserations to the Netherlands. I don't think any of us would have expected them to be the first team eliminated in the top 16, considering how unbelievably stacked their roster of players is. But Hong Kong has been playing pretty well. Once again, Netherlands' only victory is taken with the OTK Paladin.
Well, there you go.
So I'm starting to become more and more convinced by that deck.
I'm going to be trying it out the moment that we're finished casting this.
I do not doubt it. But still, commiserations to all of the Netherlands players and the country as well.
But congratulations to Hong Kong, though. I mean, they did lose to the United Kingdom yesterday. This was an elimination match, but they are through. They'll be playing the loser of the United Kingdom versus Bulgaria later on to decide which one of those teams gets to get to BlizzCon. But wow! Let's take a look one more time at the series we just watched. As Derek said, the Paladin was the only deck on the Netherlands side for 2 days in a row. Managed to get a win. It's got to have some potential now.
Yeah.
It has to.
And it was not just a regular old Hearthstone win. That was one hell of a win.
Yeah.
Both teams playing out of their absolute minds towards the end with some very, very creative thinking to try and get a victory on both sides. I think Tice has shown us that he's still got it and he can play these slightly weird decks better than anyone else. But Hong Kong, they are not out of the woods yet. Like you said, UK or Bulgaria are going to be their next opponent. And if they win that one, they will be through to BlizzCon.
It has to be said, Hong Kong are an amazing team. I mean, again, we keep mentioning it. Kin is a Hearthstone gold medalist from the Asian Games. Shai has all of the achievements recently. Blitzchung is probably the most well-known. Like, there's so many good big names on that team. It would be a shame to see them eliminated also. As we look back, game number 1, Tyler came close to recovering here. Almost got that quest completed, but no vanish in sight. Hong Kong got the double Soulfire and won the game with it.
Yeah, and Tyler was saying he thinks if they're going to have any chance, they need to be winning that first game. And his prophecy did come true, despite taking the OTK Paladin versus Shudderwock Shaman. I mean, this was just one of the most miserable games of Hearthstone I've ever seen from the Netherlands side. They had absolutely no chance right from the get-go, because this is just one of the worst matchups in Hearthstone.
Yep, but Spectral Pillager still, it managed to be the bad fireball that we were anticipating.
Oh, yeah.
It's not quite the 30 damage one, but just the 5 damage one.
Well, it's like bad fireball, but it's like really good Nightblade.
True.
Yeah.
True. We'll take that. Then there was just this incredible game of Hearthstone, which did get right down to the wire. Hong Kong even managed to achieve the 10 Shudderwock turn, or probably achieved that. We didn't actually get to the end because they gave it up.
Yeah.
But 30 damage wasn't enough to deal with Tice, as he had this incredible call to arms to chew throughout the plated beetle, while Pyromancer a quality turn, putting them up to 33. And then setting up for guaranteed lethal next turn. It was just incredible.
And I do wonder if Hong Kong might have actually run out of time just literally due to the animation times, because they had so many glacial shards played that I think they might not have. I think they might have been playing them as quick as they possibly could.
Yeah.
But even then, it wouldn't have made any difference whether they could have played them or not, because in truly Tice meme fashion, a Horseman Apocalypse victory was obtained.
Let's be real though, like how often do we actually see 10 Shudderwocks being played on one turn?
Not often.
I'd say almost never, actually, because of either the fact that they don't need to play it 10 times because 2 Life Drinkers have been played, or they just don't have the time to, as you said, because the animations do take a long time.
They do. But while I am sad to see the Netherlands out, I'm excited to see more from Hong Kong, because they are one of those teams. I'm putting them in the same group as Bulgaria, maybe Switzerland as well, where we definitely weren't expecting them to do poorly, but they weren't high up on our radar of the really high competitive pedigree teams, and they've been consistently outperforming our expectations. So I do hope to see more from them if they can keep up their very solid play.
Let's take a look though at how this group is panning out. We have Group B. Winner's match will be United Kingdom versus Bulgaria. Winner of that match will be going to BlizzCon. Loser of that match will be playing against Hong Kong. Winner of that match will be going to BlizzCon.
It's going to be a very close match. Django already giving it all that to Boar Control, obviously with Django on Team Bulgaria, Boar Control on Team UK, saying, you're going to eat your words, we're not a free win. Bulgaria have got what it takes. And I don't think anyone, even Team Bulgaria, really thought they'd be getting all the way through to BlizzCon.
We are 2 series into the day. 2 very exciting series, actually. Really looking forward to seeing what is coming up next in more Hearthstone Global Games.